Hello students, today we are going to discuss about science and technological related institutions working for disaster management in India. As this disaster that is frequently coming up in India as well as across the world, there are certain institutes that are very essential if you want to properly handle disaster in all the particular phases of disaster, before disaster, during disaster, and after disaster. So basically, if you want to improve your capacity, so if you want to improve your preparedness and mitigation and prevention aspect, then capacity building arm is very important, because once disaster happens, you have to understand whatever the components of your disaster management cycle, that is before, during, and after. So in all the phases, if you are having strong institutes which are working for each and every aspect of that particular disaster, then you can properly handle that. So we have to know about which are the institutes which are working for disaster management in India related to science and technology. So there is a major role of all these science and technological institutes for capacity building for disaster management in India. So basically, this capacity building of human resource development and institutional development and legal framework are key measures for disaster management. सबसे पहले तो आपके पास ह्यूमन रिसोर्स होना चाहिए, those who can work at the time of disaster. Then institutional development, all the institutes that they can work in coordination before, after, and during disaster. And also you should have proper legal framework, means by law you can have certain laws. So in our India we are having Disaster Management Act 2005. So under that the different provisions are given, so that legal framework. So these are the three major things that are key measures for managing disaster. So in India also we are having such institutes which are working for all this. Okay, so basically these major components of capacity building is education. So education should be given to each and everyone. Then proper training, then research. This research is very essential, because if you want to develop a proper early warning, then all the application of science and technology, remote sensing, GIS, mathematical modeling, each and everything would come if you want to predict something accurately. So this research. Then next is awareness. If everything is supplied by government, but there is no awareness amongst the people, then they can also not handle properly this disaster. So each and everything which is very essential for capacity building, that is to be taken up by whatever institutes that are working in the field of disaster management. So as far as our capacity building and disaster management is concerned, these are the major science and technology related institutes working for capacity building. So very important institutes are National Institute of Disaster Management, that is NIDM, under Ministry of Home Affairs in New Delhi. It is situated. That was formed in 1995. It was earlier formed. Okay, so that is called as NIDM, National Institute of Disaster Management. Next, this is the Apex Institute, National Disaster Management Authority, but it was formed later on. Okay, by realizing the importance, because in quick succession we were having different disaster. In 1999, that Orissa super cyclone. In 2001, we were having this Bhuj earthquake. So before that, we were not having such authority that can have such proper coordination. So that's why it was formed later on. So its formation year is 2005. That is after earthquake of Gujarat. Okay, Bhuj earthquake. So, but this is the Apex Institute which is working for disaster management in India. So basically you can say NIDM जो है उसका research and development part देखता है, जबकि ये implementation part. Okay, so that is the basically difference. We will learn in detail also how these roles and responsibilities of this NIDM and NDMA differs from each other. Next is BSF, Institute of Disaster Response. So this is also because the human resource is very much essential if you want to manage a disaster. Then training is very essential. So to train such people, those who can work at the time of particularly disaster, that is the during phase. So that is basically called as the response phase. So that training, etc., that is to be given by certain institutes. So this BSF, Institute of Disaster Response, BIDR, with this BSF का एक specialized particular component hai, that are giving specially training for the disaster response, and that was again formed in 2005. Then National Disaster Response Force, this NDRF. This NDRF, everybody is knowing, whenever any disaster takes place anywhere in the country, you may find these NDRF people. So they are moving here and there, and they are just saving the life of people. Okay, and they are working extensively during disaster. So they are having so much responsibility during that is in during phase, that is the response phase of disasters. So that was formed in 2006. So these are two very important institutes that are responsible for training and actually working on the field. Okay, they will this BIDR, they will give training, and they will develop the people who can work actually that NDRF. जो NDRF में जो लोग होते हैं उनको ट्रेनिंग के लिए रिस्पॉन्सिबल है. The National Civil Defense College. So this is also, basically these are the training institutes, you can say. This National Fire Service College, they are also training the people. So basically we are having all these institutes, and proper coordination is essential at the time of disaster. So these are institutes that you should know. Similarly, we are having many other institutes which are also responsible for giving or supplying the early warning. अगर कोई भी disaster आ रहा है तो आपको early warning करना is very important, because if you can warn the people well in advance, so government as well as people they can make themselves, and they can particularly this government, they can take them to a safer place पे ले जा सकते हैं, and उनको particularly you can save the life of many people. So this early warning is also very essential part of disaster management. So we are having many agencies which are considered as a nodal agencies for the forecasting and give the early warning. So these are the different institutes. For the cyclone, we are having IMD, Indian Meteorological Department. They are responsible for giving early warning for cyclone. If tsunami is going to come, that will be given warning by Indian National Center for Oceanic Information Services, located at Hyderabad. Then for flood forecasting, we are having this Central Water Commission, CWC. Then for the landslide, we are having Geological Survey of India. For avalanches, we are having Snow and Avalanche Study Establishment. For heat and cold waves, IMD. Again, this IMD, they are very much responsible for not giving early warning of earthquake, but they are keeping all the records of all the earthquakes which are taking place in India, so that disaster profile, that vulnerability profile as far as the earthquake is concerned, that is also taken care by IMD. So you can say that IMD is very important agency that is looking after cyclone, heat and cold waves, as well as earthquake. So in India, so we should know about all these institutes that are working efficiently in India to manage disaster. So first we'll start with this National Institute of Disaster Management, NIDM, that is in New Delhi, established in 1995. So at national level, this National Institute of Disaster Management, that is NIDM, it is considered to be a capacity building arm. Okay, and it was constituted under Act of Parliament Act के अंदर उसका constitution हुआ था, with a vision to play a very important role as a premier institute for capacity development in India. So उसका main goal is to develop the capacity in India and in different states. So basically this UN, it has designated this 1990s as the International Decade for National Disaster Reduction, which is called as IDNDR. Okay, so under that all the members they were agreed कि भाई हम disaster की risk reduction के लिए काम करेंगे. So under that decade, so in 1995, Ministry of Agriculture and Corporation, nominally responsible for disaster management in India. So initially क्या था कि Ministry of Agriculture and Corporation, they will take care, वो ध्यान रखते थे कि disaster अगर कुछ हो रहा है तो. So that was earlier scenario, but in 1995 it has created National Center for Disaster Management, that was called as NCDM. But when this responsibility of disaster management, it was transferred to Ministry of Home Affairs, पहले जो मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर एंड कॉर्पोरेशन के पास था, तब इट वाज कॉल्ड NCDM, बट इट वाज लेटर ऑन पास ऑन टू मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ होम अफेयर्स. And when this responsibility was passed on to Ministry of Home Affairs, the center becomes National Institute of Disaster Management. So now it is under MHA, that is Ministry of Home Affairs. Okay. So this is the latest website that you can refer for this National Institute of Disaster Management, that is under Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India. So basically you can say that all this training, workshops and whatever policies are there, the backbone of all this policy framework and whatever plan that are prepared, there is a role of NIDM. So many projects they are undertaking, so many publications are done by them. Also you can find some safety tips are there, all these disaster basics etc that are given. Okay, so continuously, so here COVID condition is going on, so all the updates regarding everything related to any disaster taking place in India, that is generally taken care by NIDM. Okay, and that policy framework and plan and जो भी आपका रिटर्न में मटेरियल आता है उसमें उनका मेजर रोल रहता है कि हाउ टू फ्रेम एवरीथिंग. Okay, so that is the brain behind your whatever on field you are looking after. Okay. So basically this NIDM provides a technical support. So basically a technical support provided with that to the state governments through the disaster management centers in the administrative training institutes of states and union territories. So basically ये technically जो भी आपको कुछ support चाहिए, that will be provided by this NIDM, and they will be providing this through these disaster management centers which are located in administrative training institutes of states and union territories. So presently NIDM is supporting 30 such centers, and 6 of these centers that are developed as a center of excellence in the specialized area. So सब 30 जगह पे है, but 6 centers that are called as center of excellence, means बहुत ही अच्छा उनका मतलब उसके अंदर है. So that is the center of excellence for the flood risk management, for the earthquake risk management, for cyclone risk management, drought risk management, landslide risk management, and management of industrial disasters. So you can see that all these center of excellence are all the covering all the major disasters which are taking place in India. Okay, so basically this 11 larger state, they are also provided with the additional center to cater their needs in the area. So all सबके पास है, लेकिन 11 larger state that are more vulnerable to that particular disaster, that are also provided with the additional center as per the need. So all the center of excellence that are coming up and all this technical support under all this disaster that is given by NIDM. So what is the vision of this NIDM? To be a premier institute of excellence for training and research on disaster risk mitigation and management. So you can say that before वाला जो part है ना, वो उस पे ज़्यादा focus है इसका, on disaster risk mitigation and management in India, and to be recognized as one of the leading institutions at the international level in the field. So basically training and research, that is the what you can say, it's the basic vision of NIDM, and to strive relentlessly towards making a disaster-free India by developing and promoting a culture of prevention and preparedness at all levels. So you can say that all these aspects that are under the phase of disaster, that is before aspect, that is taken care by this NIDM. Okay, कि भाई disaster जितना हो सके उसको आप रोकने की ट्राई करो. So prevention, preparedness, mitigation, उसके लिए जो भी ट्रेनिंग लगता है, जो भी रिसर्च करना है, that are all done by NIDM. So what is the mission of this particular NIDM? To work as a think tank, means जो भी आप गवर्नमेंट की पॉलिसीज देखते हैं उसका थिंकिंग कहाँ से आता है, वो कहाँ से आता है टेक्निकली. So all are coming from NIDM. Okay, so all the technical people, they are involved in this NIDM. So to work as a think tank for government by providing assistance in policy formation. तो जो भी आपका पॉलिसी है, so वो पॉलिसी फॉर्मेशन में क्या क्या प्रोविजंस होंगे, that would be guided by NIDM. And ऐसे ही गाइड नहीं करेंगे, उनके पास पूरा रिसर्च रहता है, they are having all the data available with them, based on that they are deciding the policy. So policy formation का assistance, that is generally given by NIDM. So to facilitate in reducing the impact of disasters through planning and promoting training and capacity building services. So to provide training and capacity building services, that is the major mission. Then research करते रहना. Then proper documentation. This because this data that is very important कि कहाँ कितना magnitude का earthquake हुआ था, vulnerability profile कैसे बनाओगे, HRB mapping कैसे करोगे. So without research, without documentation, you cannot go further. आप capacity building के बारे में सोच ही नहीं सकते. So this research, documentation, and development of national level information base. So whatever database that you can see nowadays on all the websites, that are all whatever hard work which is taken by such people, okay, those who are working. So all this research, documentation, and development of the national level information base, that is the major mission of this NIDM. Then system development and expertise promotion for effective disaster preparedness and mitigation. So everywhere you can find this preparedness, prevention, and mitigation. So all this which is needed for all these three capacity building phases, that is generally done by developing the expertise and promoting all this preparedness, mitigation, and prevention aspect. Promoting the awareness and enhancing knowledge and skills of all stakeholders. जितने भी डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट रिलेटेड एजेंसीज है, लोग है, सब ही स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं. तो उसके अंदर अवेयरनेस क्रिएट किया जाए, उनको नॉलेज बढ़ाया जाए, उनकी स्किल डेवलप की जाए. ऑल आर टू बी डन अंडर द बाय प्रमोटिंग दिस अवेयरनेस. स्ट्रेंथनिंग द इंस्टीट्यूशनल मैकेनिज्म. जो भी आपका इंस्टीट्यूट्स है उसको स्ट्रेंथन करो, एंड बाय giving proper training and capacity building of all stakeholders. So proper training, capacity building, that is the thing. Networking and facilitating the exchange of information, experience, and expertise. So जो भी उनके पास knowledge है उसका dissemination करना, whatever information, whatever experience that are having, that is to be properly facilitated to each and every stakeholders. Okay, so that is very essential part, and that is the mission of this NIDM. So you can say that it's a technical body which are very much essential in prevention, mitigation, and preparedness aspect of disaster in India. So as far as their strategic plan is concerned, their major plan is to build a national hub to share and learn, and to create a critical mass of institutions, trainers, and trained professionals. उनका यही aim plan है कि जो भी ये इसके साथ जुड़े हुए लोग हैं, इंस्टीट्यूट्स है, उनको ट्रेंड करो एंड ट्रेंड प्रोफेशनल सप्लाई करना. ओके, सो ट्रेनिंग एंड कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग, दैट इज द मेजर focus area as far as this NIDM is concerned. To undertake the quality research covering both natural and human induced hazard and disaster. So multi hazard approach से वो काम करते हैं. कोई भी रिसर्च करते हैं तो कोई भी पर्टिकुलर एरिया में कौन से मल्टीपल हैजार्ड हो सकते हैं, उसके लिए क्या क्या कर सकते हैं. मिटिगेशन, स्ट्रक्चरल मिटिगेशन, देन नॉन स्ट्रक्चरल मिटिगेशन, एंड प्रिवेंशन पॉलिसीज एक्सेट्रा. To work as a national resource center for central and state government in the country through effective knowledge management and sharing of best practices. जो भी उनको लगा कोई एक स्टेट ने कुछ अच्छा काम किया है तो वही मॉडल आप दूसरे स्टेट में अप्लाई करो. Okay, so like that you can try to reduce whatever impact of disaster. To professionalize the disaster risk reduction and emergency management in India, professionally they should work at the time of disaster. Okay, and not only in India but within your neighboring countries also, by developing an independent cadre of professionally trained emergency and mitigation manager. So training is very important. अगर NDRF वाले people आते हैं, SDRF वाले आते हैं तो properly trained होके आते हैं, तो they are knowing how to tackle the situation. Okay, that me or you cannot do like that. Okay, so they are the professionally trained emergency and mitigation managers, and they can tackle they can handle such condition effectively. To promote the formal training and education for disaster management in India and in the region. So training देना, educate करना, awareness करना, policies framework करना, then knowledge sharing करना, everything is done by this NIDM people. To build working partnership with government, universities, NGO and corporate bodies, सबके साथ coordination, and other national and international institute as well. जितनी भी इंस्टीट्यूट्स हैं इंडिया में उसके साथ तो कोऑर्डिनेशन होता है, गवर्नमेंट के साथ होता है, यूनिवर्सिटीज के साथ होता है. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट इंटरनेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के साथ भी उनका टाइप रहता है. तो वट एवर नॉलेज दे कैन गेन फ्रॉम इंटरनेशनल लेवल, वहाँ पे जाके ट्रेनिंग लेके आते हैं, वहाँ यहाँ पे ट्रेनिंग सप्लाई करते हैं. सो दैट इज पार्टनरशिप, यू कैन से देयर इज अ इफेक्टिव पार्टनरशिप against all the stakeholders, and to link learning and action by building a synergy between institutions and professionals in the sector. So proper synergy is very essential, that is to be brought between all the institutes and professionals working in this particular area of disaster management. So it's a basically technical. So organogram of this NIDM कैसे सब organize होता है, this organogram or this framework is given. So this is the institute body. President, जो president होते हैं वो union home minister. Okay, in NDMA, NIDM जो technical part है उसके जो president होते हैं that is union home minister. Okay, so you can see the top level persons, they are involved in managing disaster, and vice president is vice chairman of NDMA. Okay, and member secretaries are there. Then governing body. So governing body means जो govern करना है उसमें chairman आपके होंगे vice chairman of NDMA. Okay, and vice chairman will be Union Home Ministry, and then other member secretary would be there. Executive directors are appointed under them. Then all the divisions are different because we are having many hazards. So geo hazard division. So under executive director, many other departments and sub lines are there. Then hydrometeorological hazard division. Then policy planning and cross cutting issues division. Then response divisions. तो response कैसे करेंगे, policy कैसे बनाएंगे, ये hazard hydro and meteorological division उसके लिए काम करेगा. Then interdivisional cell. Okay, so that will also work for seismic microzonation. जो भी अपना zonation है that they will be giving, then retrofitting cleaning, then climate change, disaster, HRV mapping, there's hazard risk vulnerability mapping, urban risk mitigation, public partnership, public-private partnership. So everything will be given by this interdivisional cell. Then special IT cell would be there. Okay, so they will look after all this IT-related facility, GIS lab, video conferencing, computer centers that are to be managed. Then training cell. So training के लिए particularly face-to-face training, online training, blended training, थोड़ा online, थोड़ा offline like that. So that are also given. Then emergency operation centers are also coming under this NIDM. So they will work at the time of emergency. Then administrative and finance division, the knowledge management and communication division, all the library, publication, online training, self-study program. So you can say that it's a vast institute, and that is covering each and every division, and that are to be managed and coordinated. अगर इतने सारे divisions है तो उसको proper coordination करना is very important. Okay, so everything is involved here: science, technology, and training and awareness part and study part. Each and everything that is taken care by this NIDM, and that will be managed under this particular framework that is called as the organogram of NIDM. So president is Union Home Minister. So it's a very high level particular body that is working, and that is the technical support behind whatever policies and whatever plan we are having as far as disaster management is concerned in India. So basically under this Disaster Management Act, these are the functions of NIDM. So first, to develop the training module, जो भी training module होता है वो develop करते हैं. Undertake research and documentation in disaster management and organize training program. So training देना है इनको सबको, ठीक है. Next is formulate and implement a comprehensive human resource development. Human resource development करना, and this human resource development plan covering all the aspect of disaster management. So all whatever which is needed for all the aspect of disaster management, that is to be taken care by them by this human resource development. जो भी इंसान चाहिए, means जो trained professional चाहिए, वो सब उनको develop करना है. Then to provide the assistance in national level policy formation, जो भी policy हमारी बनती है उसके अंदर उनका major role होता है, because they are having the technical knowledge. जो technical knowledge है तो वही guide कर सकते हैं कि policy क्या बनेगी, ठीक है. Provide required assistance to the training and research institute. They are also providing assistance. कोई भी training institute आपने शुरू किया तो उसमें वो आपको guide करेंगे for development of training and research program for various stakeholders. So basically training provide करना, research करना, provide assistance to the state government and state training institute. in the formulation of state level policies, strategies, disaster management framework and any other assistance. अगर state level के government है, state government, तो उनको भी guide करते हैं कि क्या क्या policy में क्या क्या डाल सकते हैं, क्या strategies बना सकते हैं, क्या framework बना सकते हैं आपके institutes का, how to coordinate. So everything that is required for capacity building, that is to be supplied by them. Okay, develop the educational material for disaster management. जो भी आपको मटेरियल जो मिलता है, that are all available on website. Okay, so these are all developed and that can be utilized for the academic purpose as well as for the professional courses, and to promote the awareness among all the stakeholders including college or school teachers, students, technical personals and other associated with multi-hazard mitigation, preparedness and response measures. Also to undertake, organize and facilitate study courses, conference organize करना, lecture arrange करना, seminar करना within and outside India. That is, so just to promote the culture of preparedness, prevention and mitigation, and to undertake and to provide support to publication of journals publication कराओ, and research paper publish करो, book publish करो, establish the and maintain the libraries so that you are having the rich study material with you. Okay, all the research that are taken up, if it is published in journal and if it is maintained in library, then that will be useful to each and everyone. Okay, so such technical things that would be made available to each and every person. That is the thing. So thrust area की बात करें हम तो its major thrust area is training, to give training. So as I discussed, face-to-face training that are provided by this NIDM off campus, on campus. Okay, and it is providing to all in wide range of subject in sectors for the senior and middle level government officers and others. So face-to-face training. Then also they are providing web-based training. Okay, so institute in collaboration with the World Bank Institute Washington conducts the online training program. So still today, if you go on website of NIDM, they are providing such online training. So anyone can join that. Okay, if you are interested in the particular subject, then all these training modules that are available online. Then satellite-based training is also given to the Administrative Training Institute. Okay, so the institute collaborates with some of the administrative training institute to conduct the satellite-based training program through ISRO community. ISRO के साथ coordinate करके satellite-based training is also provided. Then self-study courses are also available. So web-based self-study courses which anyone from anywhere can anytime log in. Okay, so if you go and visit such a website, you can find everything which is available and you can also join. Research and documentation. So this is very important. अगर आपके पास आपका कोई डेटाबेस ही नहीं है तो आप कैसे उसको टैकल करोगे, ठीक है ना. सो दिस NIDM डॉक्यूमेंट्स मेजर डिजास्टर टेकिंग प्लेस इन इंडिया, जितने भी डिजास्टर हो रहे हैं उसका ईच एंड एवरीथिंग दे आर मेजरिंग. Okay, and that kind of resource material that can be utilized. Okay, so these action oriented research projects are also undertaken by this institute. So whatever research and documentation is effectively done by NIDM. Then policy studies. NIDM provides assistance in national level policy formulation. So जो भी policy बनती है उसमें उनका major role होता है. And state level policies and strategies as well as for the framework. So policy studies and policy formulation, that is also very important role of this NIDM. So this is the list and that I have taken from this website of this NIDM itself. So all these training modules etc. that are regularly updated, and anyone can see all these modules that are related to different areas that are thrust areas that are decided by NIDM. So anyone can join such kind of courses if they are interested. So all this training module, online training, self-study program, everything is given on the website. Apart from this vision, mission, strategic management structure, everything is given. So consultancy services are also provided. So NIDM also provides consultancy services to the central and state government department and UN agencies, then autonomous bodies and corporation, district administration and local authorities in developing their disaster management plan, framework and strategies. So consultancy भी provide करते हैं support. Okay, the knowledge integration. So NIDM performs the knowledge integration. सब जगह से knowledge इकट्ठा कर लेना उनको, ठीक है? Through networking, collaboration with number of national and international agencies. So NIDM has been developing in India disaster knowledge network, which is called as IDKN. So this IDKN is India. It is an India disaster knowledge network. So in this, they are having collaborations with all the institutes. So this NIDM is collaboration with all the national level institutions. जितनी भी हमारी institution है, सबके साथ उनका collaboration है. So you can see this INCOIS, then this IMD, then EST, then this CWC, IITs, ATI. So each and every institute, NGOs with universities. Okay, so each and every institutes that are working and उनके साथ उनका collaboration रहता है. So everything they are getting. So that is the knowledge integration. And also they are related and they are integrating themselves along with all the international institutes as well. Okay, so they are not, it is not limited to this Indian institutes only. It is related to international institutes as well. Okay, so that is basically called as knowledge integration. Okay, so we can see that it is having very important role in particularly providing as a what you can say, it is a technical aspect for each and every thing related to disaster. Particularly, next institute is NDMA, and this is NDMA. So how it is formed? Succession occurs in the form of Orissa super cyclone in 1999 and Gujarat earthquake in 2001. And it has brought about the realization and need to have the specialized response mechanism कि हमारे पास कुछ ऐसा mechanism ही नहीं है कि जिससे हम national level पे या state level पे उससे fight कर पाए. So realization led to the enforcement and enactment of this particular act. So under this act, the DEM Act बना हमारा 23rd December 2005, and NDMA was constituted by to lay down the policies, plan, and guidelines for disaster management. So under this act, this NDMA was developed. Okay, or that is NDMA emerged. You can say under this NDMA, this DEM Act. Okay, so this NDMA, it is headed by Prime Minister, and state disaster management authorities headed by respective chief minister, and at the DDMA like that it was formulated. So basically the vision of NDMA is to build a safer and disaster resilient India by holistic, proactive, technology driven and sustainable development strategy that involves all the stakeholders and fosters a culture of prevention, preparedness and mitigation. So each and everywhere you can find that our major focus is now on capacity building part. So here in vision also you can see कि हमारा जो India है उसको हमको safer and disaster resilient India बनाना है. By all the approaches, holistic approach, सबको integrate करके proactive approach होना चाहिए. Okay, and to have the sustainable development. So we have to develop the culture of prevention, preparedness and mitigation. Instead of focusing on response, we have to be proactive. कुछ हो जाए उसके बाद आप react करो, उससे तो better है कि आप पहले ही उसको आप tackle करो. So that is called as a proactive approach. So this is the latest website that you can see, that is the particularly NDMA. So chairman is Prime Minister. So each and everything which is updated on related to latest disaster going on, and also these policies and plan that are given, capacity building, then about NDMA you can see on this that all the programs and disaster related information, everything you can get it from this particular website of NDMA. So basically if we talk about the role of this NDMA, the functions and responsibility has to be understood. So NDMA is the apex body, सबसे बड़ी you can say. It is mandated to lay down the policies, plan and guidelines for disaster management. तो जो जितने भी आपके policies, plan and guideline है that are given by this NDMA, but उसका जो think tank होता है वो NIDM होता है. Okay, so what are the responsibilities? To lay down the policies on disaster management, और think tank उनका पीछे चलेगा NIDM का. Approve the national disaster management plan. उसके जो भी provisions होंगे वो NIDM उनको guide करके ultimately they will form. Okay, so to lay down the policy, to approve the disaster management plan, approve plans prepared by ministries और डिपार्टमेंट. जो भी डिपार्टमेंट ने कुछ प्लान बनाया है गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया के पास जाएगा, उसको आपको चेक करना है whether all this in accordance with our national plan then they will approve it. Then lay down the guidelines to be followed by the state authorities in drawing up the state plan. तो भी आप स्टेट प्लान बना रहे हैं, so that should be in line with the national plan, and they have to lay down the guidelines, and that is to be followed by the state authorities. To lay down the guidelines to be followed by different ministries. State को भी follow करना है, ministries को भी follow करना है, okay? And all the measures for the prevention of disaster or the mitigation of their effects in their development plans and projects. So whatever guidelines, whatever plans that are given by NDMA, that is to be followed by different state as well as by different ministries. Then coordinate the enforcement and implementation of the policy and plan. तो कोऑर्डिनेट तो करना है, बट उसको एनफोर्स करवाना है. अगर कोई नहीं मान रहा है तो उसको दंड करवाना है. ठीक है, अभी जैसे कोरोना चल रहा है तो आप मास्क नहीं पहन रहे तो 1000 रुपीज हर जगह अलग अलग होता है. सो एनफोर्समेंट एंड इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ऑफ पॉलिसी एंड प्लान, जो भी उसमें गाइडलाइन दिया है दैट इज टू बी फॉलोड प्रॉपरली. देन रेकमेंड द प्रोविजंस ऑफ फंड्स फॉर द पर्पज ऑफ मिटिगेशन. फंड प्रोवाइड करना, कितना हम कौन से स्टेट को कितना देंगे. सो रेकमेंड द प्रोविजंस ऑफ फंड्स फॉर द पर्पज ऑफ मिटिगेशन ऑल्सो ड्यूरिंग, बिफोर एंड आफ्टर, सब फेज में वो कितना फंड देना है, दे विल डिसाइड. प्रोवाइड सच सपोर्ट टू अदर कंट्रीज ऑल्सो. अगर नेबरिंग कंट्री में भी कुछ हो रहा है, कहीं और हो रहा है, दे कैन प्रोवाइड सच फंड टू देम ऑल्सो, and that would be decided by central government. Then take up such measures for prevention of disaster or for the mitigation or preparedness and capacity building. जो भी measures लेना है for this all these three aspects that is to be taken. Then lay down the broad policies and guidelines for the functioning of NIDM. So जो भी हमारा functioning होता है NIDM के अंदर, उसको भी they lay down the policies and guidelines. So this is the a particular framework of this NDMA. Chairman, under that we have vice chairman. So chairman, prime minister, then members are assigned. Under those members, basically all the advisors related to policy and plan, advisors related to operations, advisors related to mitigation aspect, then administrative services, then financial advisor, then project director, and under that so many deputy director, joint director as per requirement. So it's a big framework, okay, and that covers all the on-field enforcement and finance provision and whatever policy for framework, etc., that is done by all these particular people. They are involved, okay. So many branches are there, so many people are involved, and ultimately that will give you a final disaster management plan and policy. So this is again this with the name it is given, National Disaster Management Authority, chairman, then vice chairman, and all these areas which are conducted by all these members, okay. So basically enforcement of DM Act, जो भी DM Act का provision कर है उसको enforcement कराना, that is the major role. So there is a paradigm shift from the response and relief centric approach to a proactive and comprehensive mindset. हमारा ये जो पूरा paradigm shift हुआ है कि response and relief centric approach था initially, now it has become proactive and comprehensive mindset, and which covers all the aspect of prevention, mitigation, preparedness, to rehabilitation, reconstruction, and recovery, okay. So it provides the creation of policy, legal and institutional framework, all that are under NDMA, and it is backed by the effective statutory as well as the financial support. तो ये सब इसको actually field पे implementation करवाना है. The mainstreaming of multi-sectoral DM concerns into the developmental procedures and mitigation measures. Multi-sector planning, organizing, which is on paper, that is to be followed. So there are various programs carried out by NDMA. So that is Apda Mitra scheme for training volunteers. इसके अंदर all the most 30 most flooded flood zone area they have prepared volunteers, उनको prepare किया. The national cyclone risk mitigation project, जो भी cyclone affected area है उनमें लोगों को trained किया, okay. So that is under these projects, okay. The national school safety project, so that is also implemented under in various schools, जो CBSE की school है. So they will demonstrate and project the culture of safety in schools, and also they will provide some capacity building of officials, teachers, students, etc. So this kind of training that is generally carried out under such a training program, standard teacher training module, okay, वो डिजाइन किया जाता है. ऑर्गेनाइजिंग द मॉक ड्रिल करते हैं, बच्चों को पता चले कि भाई कुछ डिजास्टर होता है तो कैसे टैकल करना है. कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग ऑफ इंजीनियर्स टू कंडक्ट ऑल दीज वर्कशॉप, कॉन्फ्रेंस, सेमिनार, सिम्पोजियम. Okay, all activities related to preparedness, mitigation, response, relief, and rehabilitation. Also, this National Disaster Management Services pilot project that was also carried out at 120 locations. So, जो भी terrestrial communication network है, they are prone to be failure during disaster. So, reliable telecommunication infrastructure provide हो. So, at the time of emergency, they can work properly. So this integrated approach has become the part of ICT services to provide the assistance to MHA, NDMA, NDRF, everything. So by अपना reliable network रहे उसके लिए pilot project was carried out, and that locations that are given here. So all this the training etc. they are carrying out. Then NDMA ने एक pilot project लिया था, capacity building and disaster management for officials and representative of Panchayati Raj institutes and urban local bodies of district level. So that is in collaboration with IGNU. Okay, so in that face-to-face training to the various state administrative training institutes को provide किया गया था. That is MOU that was MOU signed by this NDMA and IGNU. So they are collaborating for such. Then also certain campaigns that are given provided by NDMA, awareness campaign, audio visual, earthquake awareness, cyclone awareness, flood awareness, information education and communication. Also project by this BSNL to provide the reliable telecommunication network infrastructure, technical support for the emergency operations center. All the services which are all the institutes working for forecasting and warning agencies that are also having certain problems. So all the information is received by all this that is from the portal that was also covered up by them. So you can say that they are widely working in the field of actual implementation of whatever policies and whatever provisions that are provided. Okay, so with this I would like to end the presentation. Okay, so in the next class we will be continuing with the next institutes.